Hey everybody, this is Modern Refugee. There's been a lot of talk just recently here on how to handle, different situations if certain things happen because of the conflict that's going on in Israel. Different things about different attacks and stuff. There's been a lot of YouTube preparedness channels chiming in on this, and I was thinking about that today, and I wanted to do a little bit of a video on that topic, but from a little bit different angle. And most people already know certain tactical things because they were kids growing up. There's a lot of tactical things that actually took place on the playground when you were a kid growing up. And I've seen a lot of different things, and I've seen a lot of altercations and stuff over the years, and I wanted to mention a few of those things here in this video. And the first one is you take the skinniest, scrawniest kid in the group, and you go and you have him pick a fight with the other group on the other side of the playground. Have the little skinny kid run up there and say, "Hey, your mama stinks," and you get those guys to chase him, and they're chasing him, and he takes them right around the corner of the school garage where all your guys are at, and they run right into the ambush. And that's actually called a running ambush. And it's a dangerous thing, chasing people, because you don't know where they're leading you. So that's why I think chasing people is probably a bad idea, especially if you're just an average common citizen, because like I said, you don't know where those other people may be leading you. That could be a running ambush. And it's another thing you see every once in a while. You'll see people showing their gear and their kit and the stuff that they have, and they'll have stuff like flexi cuffs and stuff like that in their kit. And me, as just an average person, the last thing I'm going to do if I was in a fight and I got the upper hand, the last thing I'm going to do is decrease my distance to that particular person that I just got into a fight with and try to restrain them. That's a recipe to get your butt handed to you right then and there. If I've got distance and I got the upper hand, the last thing I'm going to do is close that distance so that other person can lay a hand on me. That just isn't going to happen. And this goes back to another event that took place this one took place to me. I can attest to this one. I was probably 11, maybe 12 years old, something like that. Went to the city, big mall. My mom and dad, they were shopping in one end of the mall. I wanted to go to something like the music store or something, so I went to the music store. Well, when I was done, I was walking out of the mall, and it had sort of like these long, narrow entrances, which I should have never went down in the first place because it was a bottleneck, but that's another story entirely. But I walked down there, and there were a couple of older kids, maybe 14, that were down there, and I kind of looked at them, and I just kind of moved over to the side. I put my head down, and I was just going to walk past them, right? Well, when I put my head down, they closed the distance on me, and when I got close enough, I didn't really realize it. The one hauled off and punched me right square in the chest, and it took me off guard, and I just sort of reacted. Well, I hauled off, and I punched the other kid in the throat as hard as I could, and I ran like crazy. I ran and ran, and never looked back, never seen what happened, whatever. I ran to the other end of the mall, happened to see my parents coming out of the mall. I ran up, "Hey, Mom, let's get out of here." And we took off. Now, that instance right there, I was attacked. I retaliated, and then I created distance. I put as much space between those kids and me as I possibly could, and I never looked back. I just ran, and I ran so hard, the bottom of my feet hurt the next day. And because I was obviously outnumbered, so I probably wouldn't have got the best of any situation there whatsoever. And that creating distance, that's an important thing. You want to create distance if there's any problem. There was another situation that I witnessed. It was in a bar when I was younger, and there was a couple of farmers that were hacking on the bartender, and they called him a chew. Well, anyway, they were hacking on a chew pretty bad, and this went on for an hour or so. Finally, a chew got tired of it, and he started pummeling those farmers that drank too much. And it turned kind of into a brawl, and I just sort of stepped back and let everything take place. And the reason I did that is there's been different times I've seen people that tried to break up a fight, and they're the ones that got pummeled. When the fists start flying and things start happening, I've seen multiple times where people try to break up a fight or whatever, they're the ones that got punched in the mouth, or worse. And or sometimes the two parties that were fighting just decided that you're the bad guy now, and they start pounding on you. So sometimes not getting involved into a situation like that, remaining neutral, whatever you want to call it, is your best bet. And there's another one. This was a story that was told me up at bear camp, but there's a lesson in this one too. And what it was is there was a couple of guys. They were picking on a native guy, and of course it was at a bar, so they were all drinking, but they were picking on this native guy, and the two guys, they were actually kids of a local politician. And what ended up happening was they took it outside, and when they took it outside, the two guys were beating up on the native guy, and this went on a little bit until the two guys got tired. And see, this native guy, he had a little bit of a professional fighting. I don't know if you really want to call it MMA or what, but he had a little bit of that professional fighting experience, and he let them beat on him until they got tired. And when they got tired, he turned the tables and he whooped on them, and he whooped on them so bad that they actually locked themselves into their vehicle to get away from him. And he ended up pulling a post up out of the ground, and he dented every quarter panel and every panel on the vehicle that they were in with that post. And sometimes you can't judge somebody by how they look, how they're going to react in those situations. Another time, we actually did go to some MMA fights once, and I remember this particular guy. He was skinny, buck-toothed. He was probably 6 foot tall, maybe 150 pounds, and he had a really skinny face. And his name that they announced was Rat Man. And they said, "Hey, Rat Man, this is the Rat Man from over here." And he's going up against this other dude. This other dude was kind of buff. He looked like he lifted weights or whatever. Well, that Rat Man guy, he had like really, really long arms. So when that other guy tried to come in, that rat guy, he took those long arms and he just smacked the shit out of this other dude, and he ended up winning that particular bout. And if you would have put the two beside each other, you would have never thought that little skinny bucktooth dude would have whipped this muscular looking guy. But that's exactly what happened. So you can never, ever judge a book by its cover in those particular situations. And like I said, a lot of this stuff people have probably already seen when they were kids growing up on the playground and in different situations. And I wanted to bring those topics up and those points up for people to ponder with everything that's been going on. There's a lot of deception that goes on, and sometimes, chasing somebody down or underestimating somebody can get you in trouble. So anyway, this is Modern Refugee. Appreciate all my subscribers out there. Just wanted to mention these few things. I hope everybody gets a little bit something to ponder out of these particular topics here. But anyway, you guys have a good one.